I was a domiciliary carer, and over a period of a year, we were overpaid our wages. I was actually overpaid over £1,000, but I didn't notice it because it was in every month, and I do different shifts, so it was,
really easy to miss.
Really easy to miss, yeah. And I've been paying it off gradually. They've taken it out of my wages, but I have actually left the employment. I still owe £540, and they wanted it all in one go, and I said I haven't got that money, to hand.
Yeah.
And they said, right, well, we'd like X amount a month. And I've come back to them and I said, I can't afford that. And I've told them what I can afford to pay them every month. And they came back and said, well, if you don't, there will be a late payment fee on top of what you owe. So I said, look, I'm struggling. Everything's going up. I thought they would be more understanding, but they're not. In my contract, it doesn't say anything about the late payment fees, but I appreciate that I have to pay this money back.
Yeah.
I know that. But I just wanted to know, can they do what they're doing?
Yeah. Rebecca, first of all, well done on being so honest and accepting you have to pay the money back. The one thing I will say, because it sounds like your employer's a bit cruel, care agencies do work on absolute shoestring budgets and with absolutely negligible profit margins. So it's understandable they need to get back that overpayment. But the way they're going about it sounds absolutely hideous and indecent. They have absolutely no right to a late payment fee. None. They are completely BSing you and trying to intimidate you.
All right.
However, I'm going to add a little bit of a caveat to that, Rebecca. They are allowed, in theory, to bring a claim against you in the small claims court. If they get a judgment, which they would get because you accept the money is owed, if they get a judgment, then you offer to pay in instalments. That's the way it works. They either say yes or no. If they say yes, there's a deal, you pay the instalments. If they say no, a judge, a very junior level of judge, will decide whether the instalments you've offered are reasonable. They'll look at your income, your outgoings, and decide whether you should pay more. But that'll take a year. So it gives you a year in which to pay it back anyway.
All right. So,
however, this is the caveat I was going to come to. Just let me add this little bit, then you can ask me anything else. This is the caveat. If they go to court and get a judgment against you, interest gets added to the £500 odd.
Sure.
It's at 8% a year.
Right.
So it's not if you're paying it back within a year, that's going to be another, £40 on the debt.
Sure.
But it's not a late payment fee. It's not a fixed amount just because you've paid late. It's just some interest.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But the other thing is I have offered to pay them what I can afford every month before, that them having to do that, take me to court. So would that, be enough?
Well, I think so. I think so. As long as you're keeping up the payments, I suspect their legal department will tell them, don't bother suing Rebecca. Right. There's just no point in it because all the judge is going to say is keep going with those payments. And the fact that you've kept up payments will be a really powerful point in your favour if a judge has to decide whether it's feasible to ask you to pay by instalments. If you've been doing it, it makes it more likely a judge will say carry on then.
Oh, thank you very much.
So you're doing the right thing. They sound like horrible people. Good luck to you.
It's really stressed me out, actually. So, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Rebecca, thank you so much for calling in.